Hello, my name is Walter Frank. I'm a 1959 graduate of Miami University. I was born in Germany in February of 1937, southwest Germany, a city called Kaiserslautern. Immigrated to the United States in late 1938 with my mother. The reason I immigrated to the United States was my father, who had come over in 1937, had a strong premonition that things were going to go very bad for Jews in Germany. In fact, he advised his two brothers and three sisters and his parents that they also should leave Germany. It was not easy to leave Germany at that time. The United States had very strict rules about you needed a sponsor, and we were fortunate because my father had a distant cousin who did sponsor us. My aunts and uncles and grandparents did not feel the threat that my father felt. After all, they had lived in the same village for 500 years, according to the town records, and they lived a very comfortable life. They were livestock handlers, and they didn't feel threatened by their neighbors. It's interesting that in recent years, the town has resurrected a monument with their names on it, and the head of the monument said, "We knew them all." In other words, they were their neighbors and they knew them. It's hard to conceive that your neighbors will turn against you in such a horrific way. During the war, I really have very few recollections. I was fairly young. We had no real knowledge of what was happening during the war. After the war, we knew there was a disaster and there was a desperate search for survivors. Occasionally, my parents would get notice from the Red Cross or some other agency that somebody with a name similar to my uncle's or grandfather was found, but it turned out later to be false. I was able to obtain records recently which confirmed that all of them lost their lives in the concentration camps. It's hard to conceive, but to lose almost all your family. I had one aunt who did escape just before the war to England, and she's the only survivor outside of my father on my father's side. My grandmother on my mother's side, her mother, came to the United States just before the war on a visit and was able to avoid it. Her father had died many years before, and she did have a brother who was also lost in the Holocaust. That's my story.